You're listening to The Moose and the Loose, your 10 minutes action-packed financial podcast with your host, Mikey Hu. Hey, what's up, Market Moose? Mike from The Moose and the Loose. I hope you are doing well. Today, we're getting outside of dividend growth investing or even Canadian investing. We're talking about the fear on missing out, the FOMO around Bitcoin. Do you have Bitcoin FOMO? I don't know. I don't have it, but I am fascinated by this story. I've been watching cryptocurrencies for several years, more from a technology point of interest than the actual speculation. In 2020, I had a lot of fun buying and selling some Bitcoin, some Ethereums. I tried a few things around crypto and Solana and trying to farm coins, but just more like an experiment, like with a few $1,000s, like nothing significant, but just really just to have fun. The long story short of that was I won some, I lost some. In the end, I made a little bit of profit with the kind of like the ventures that we can call that, like all the like special projects I tried. I was pretty much breaking even. Maybe I did made a few $100 net out of this, but I made some money on Bitcoin because I sold it like while I doubled my profit. And do you know what I did with that? I reinvested the whole money into dividend growth paying stocks, and I don't regret it. Even though I sold it around like $50,000, I should have kept it. Not for $50,000, just to be correct. It was just a couple of $1,000s that were invested. They doubled the money, got out, moved in, and then when I saw the Bitcoin crashing in 21, I was like, well, that was I got lucky. That's fine. That was a fun ride. And that was pretty much the end of it. And then between 22 and then early 24, not much has happened with the Bitcoin. It was down, and then it started to go up, and then boom. In around May, we got up to more than $60,000 for Bitcoin. And now we're getting incredibly close to say that a Bitcoin will trade at 6 digits, so almost at $100,000. In terms of percentage, year to date, it's up more than 120%. So you could have doubled your money again if you were willing to buy and sell, which is kind of crazy. And then I see that since the election, of course. So before the election, the Bitcoin was trading around 70,000, and then it went up big jump, almost to 100 grand. Kind of crazy after the election because Trump said a few positive things around Bitcoin. So a lot of people are thinking, well, now they will want to democratize a little bit more how cryptocurrencies are being traded. We won't have those roadblocks to let investors buy Bitcoins and so on. So probably going to have a higher demand, so high demands and offer. Supply and demand, of course, law of the economics applies to everything, and then boom, everybody wants to buy some, and we can see clearly that the volume has greatly increased since this summer. Is this another pump and dump? Is this another case where I am wrong and Bitcoin is going to trade for $1 million in a few months or in a few years? I don't know. I don't pretend to be an expert in Bitcoin, not at all. I'm interested in how it works. I like to know just stories around that. I found it fascinating, but for me, the Bitcoin itself is just another tulip story. What's this tulip story? But you probably know the first major crash on the stock market happened in Holland, a while ago in the galaxy far, far, far away. And long story short, people started to trade tulip bulb like it was the next big thing, which is kind of crazy when you think about that. But believe me or not, at one point you could have bought a house for a tulip bulb price, which kind of crazy, right? And you guessed it, at one point people realize, man, that's just a flower. There's no value attached to it, and it's completely useless. So it's not worth the price of a house. And then the price of the tulip tumbled. The reason why I'm telling you this quick story is, and I'm not telling you that Bitcoin is going to tumble like every time soon. I don't know, but seriously, what kind of value we find in Bitcoin? A lot of people will say, well, it's the digital gold. All right. But that's like, I like to say, that's the story you tell yourself, because there's absolutely no proven record that the Bitcoin will actually become a gold standard and will be a store of value. Because for a store of value that goes up like up and down by 10% in a single day, in a single week, that goes up like all the way around, I don't know. I would not like to have that kind of store of value when in November 2021, the Bitcoin was trading around $60,000, and then a few months later in 2022, it was down to 40,000, and then it got all the way down to 17,000 at the end of 22 to go back up at like 50,000 at the beginning of like 24. That's kind of crazy. I mean, this is not a store of value. This is pure speculation. You cannot tell me that this thing is valid, like a store of value. Like the price of gold, yes, it fluctuates, but not that much. If you're thinking about hearts, if you're thinking about like those, like the paintings and stuff, those prices, they do not fluctuate overnight like this, so they have a relatively stable price that will hedge against inflation. For Bitcoin, it's a whole different story. So I don't know. Like, yes, everything goes up right now, and then we all wish, and of course, I wish that I had some Bitcoins laying around that I had paid like $2,000 back in like, I don't know, like 2018 or something. That because that could make a great story of how I made so much money on a speculative play. But besides that, that will be the end of it. And you know what? Bitcoin was supposed to trade at $140,000 in 2020 and then in 2021. And then we're like 4 years later and still haven't even reached the mark of 100. I'm pretty confident that this rush, this FOMO around Bitcoin is going to push the Bitcoin above 100 grand, but it doesn't mean it's going to stay there. It doesn't mean it's going to move up or down. Actually, nobody knows. And a lot of people will just position themselves as experts, same type of people that have explained at length that the oil barrel will trade at $200 a barrel back in 2010, which was 14 years before, and the same experts that said that the gold ounce would trade at $3,000 very easily in 2020, but still to date, we haven't seen that $3,000 an ounce. So for the experts, I mean, I'm going to pass. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to tell you that it is and it remains a speculative play, no matter what people say. And of course, you can make a lot of money with this, but just make sure that you're playing around with money that you don't need. And this is what I did in 2020, and I had a lot of fun. That was great. And I saw the entire thing like turning out like positively, because I came in, I went out quickly. I just made some profit. I had fun, but that was like fun money. That was like not part of my core investments. Would I do it again? I don't know. I'm not that interested. I've heard a lot of like a key point about holding a few Bitcoins, like a small percentage of your portfolio, like a 2% of your portfolio, as an argument. That makes total sense though, because the downside of having 2% in cryptocurrency, well, it's to lose 2%, like completely. That would be the worst case scenario. But the upside could be definitely to 5 times your money. So you have what we call an asymmetric risk, where the upside potential is a lot better than the downside potential. And for that reason, that could make sense to have some of in your portfolio. I could buy that argument. I don't have like anything to say against it, actually. It's kind of interesting. So I guess it depends where you are in your life and which your financial situation. So if you have plenty of money and you want to like play around with 1 or 2% of your assets, totally makes sense. If you're starting investing and you're just thinking big and you want to put 100% of your money into that, well, that's gambling. I mean, you could win when you gamble, don't get me wrong, but that's still gambling. It's not investing. So those are my thoughts around Bitcoins. Full disclaimer, I don't have any Bitcoins or Bitcoins ETF at this point or any other cryptocurrency. I'm not saying I'm not going to go to have some, but at this point, I have nothing. So it moves. I hope that you will have a wonderful day, and we're gonna talk again on next Thursday. So tomorrow, that will be the day of my big webinar, Dividend Income for Life. You can register for free at moosemarkets.com/webinar. So that's moosemarkets.com/webinar. I'm gonna see you there tomorrow, and until the meantime, don't forget to stay invested. Hey, welcome to the disclaimer. If you're listening to The Moose and the Loose, you cannot really expect me to give you buy or sell recommendation or financial advice, right? You're here for fun, you're here for information and some entertainment. But I am not your financial advisor, I am not your broker, so therefore I'm not liable if you're losing money after listening to the podcast. If you're looking for some advice, go see a professional. If not, you can enjoy the show and do your due diligence after it.